I started this video and realized I wasn't recording the whole entire time. So I'm gonna try to reverse a little bit so that we're all on the same page here. I had two plants. One is an Epipremnum flame, an Epipremnum marble. I cut this one off because it's obviously very top heavy. I want to promote growth within these nodes. Then I did the same thing for this one. Greenhouse, old curio cabinet that I transformed into a little indoor greenhouse. For these were in, the plants were really close to the light. I think the humidity was too much in there. So I need to start propping the door open to get a little airflow. Now I know. So I'm just trying to rejuvenate these guys, propagate all of these, and I'll show you how to do that. I have this cakey paste. It's clothing paste, basically like a very concentrated hormone paste you put on your plants. I have used it before, but I don't know if I've used it correctly before. And I think what I did wrong was just put a little bit of paste on the node instead of like inside the plant within the node. So I think you're supposed to kind of like, I don't know, score it a little bit. So I'm gonna score within the node a smidge so that the paste can go all the way in there. I'm using a paring knife because it's really sharp. So I actually scored it like across the node. I don't know if I did that right. It kind of seemed a little aggressive, but it wasn't too much where it broke off. It might be just enough. I'm just gonna use my finger to kind of spread the paste on. Maybe my little, I think a little bit goes a long way is what I've heard. I'm gonna put a little bit on each node here. I think I need like a Q-tip. Can I help you? Can I help you? Go that way, over there. Good, over there. All right, I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but there's cakey paste all over the nodes. I'm gonna do the same thing to this other one here. If I'm not scoring these correctly and this die off, I still have these top cuts. It'll be okay. It's kind of like trial and error, and it's worth the trial to get maybe an error or maybe not. So maybe I can get close enough to show you exactly how I'm scoring this. Node right there. I'm just gonna swipe right on the node. I don't know if you got that, but that's where we're at. And then I'm gonna actually use this paring knife to kind of spread the cakey paste. A little bit goes a long way, so I'm just gonna grab a little bit, that much, and just put a little bit right where I scored it. I think adding this will help for growth. Cutting the top of it off will help with growth. And then it being in that little greenhouse that I said I kind of built, it will, and then like if I keep the greenhouse door a little ajar so it's not too humid in there, I think it'll help too. I'm really excited to see if these put out new growth, because if they do, the humidity and the temperature in there, it stays fairly warm, and the amount of light will just be perfection. So hopefully I have a good update video on this within a couple months. That's exciting. So now I have my top cuts here. This is Flame. This is Epipremnum Marble. So you can see it already has roots on it. I'm gonna actually, I don't know if I want to cut the leaf off. I'm gonna cut the leaf off. Just gonna do it. All right, cut the leaf off. I have my propagation box here, and I'm just gonna set this in here with the roots down into the sphagnum moss. You can see all these have roots. Again, I'm just gonna cut all these leaves off. And it's unfortunate. These are so light stressed. They're not worth it. And they're gonna come off anyway, like being in this box. And if I were not to put them in the box, they're so used to like 100% humidity from the greenhouse, they would probably die off anyway. It is what it is. In between two nodes. This is a node, this is a node. I'm gonna cut right in the middle. And you can see this already has roots. So hopefully the fact that it has roots, it can put energy into new growth sooner than a node with no roots that has to put out roots and then new growth. Sometimes they put out new growth before roots. They just do what they want. I don't know. I'm just gonna add that to the box. There's a node right here, node right here. I'm gonna cut in the middle. You could very well keep two nodes together. I don't want to. The more plants of this, the better. These are actually a lot harder to come by. Again, node right here, node right here. I'm gonna cut in the middle. So all those that I cut off already have roots. I'm just gonna stick the roots in the sphagnum moss. Cut all the way down. So you can see here, there's a node right here, node right here. These are way too close together. I'm not gonna cut in between there. I'm going to cut right in the middle here and just keep these like this because these are all so close together. I would hate to cut in the middle of all those and then lose all the nodes. So at least if I cut how I did, at least one node is probably viable. Maybe all three, maybe just two. Only time will tell. Moving on, same thing. This one actually has even more aerial roots, but I am gonna cut all these leaves off. It's unfortunate. These are all very close together, so I'm not gonna try to separate them. So I'm gonna cut right there in between two nodes. Then just cut in the middle of all these. They all have aerial roots, but these won't take long to start growing. And then there's just these two. The sphagnum moss that is in here kind of covers the roots that are in here because I don't want them to dry out too much because they're so used to being in such a very humid environment. But this is what it looks like. Put it under a bright light and they should be putting out new growth very soon because they already have roots. So I'm very excited for that. And then these two I'm going to go put back in my little greenhouse and keep you posted on how the cakey paste does. All right, I'll see you soon.